All right, look at that. That's a gorgeous, gorgeous juicy onion from a rooftop right here in the heart of downtown Toronto. We're changing the food system, folks, one onion at a time. So the farm to table movement is a collection of people across the planet at this point, right? Who really want to reconnect the growing and gardens and farms to the traditions of the table, as we call it.
We always had this sort of idea that the importation of food and wine was what made it so special, you know, which I guess that's still true to a certain degree with certain things, but it's right here. It's right here wherever you are.
So a great example of that is right here on campus. We're here in our beautiful rooftop garden that produces incredible amounts of really delicious food, but just right over there is the building in which we cook all of this food. So we have this wonderful farm to table experience right here on this campus.
The farm to table movement is an acceptance that as citizens we should look to our local supply of food first. I think what the local food movement does is advocates for and accepts that any community anywhere in the world should be able to create enough food for its own community.
It's overkill.
I think food security is enhanced by developing relationships with local growers, so people in your community, because you get to know these people and you get to trust them. Or you trust more than others, so you gravitate towards the ones you trust. And you understand over time how that grower grows his or her crop. Tables are turned, you're the boss.
Rise Homegrown is an organization here on campus at Ryerson who has done some growing on ground spaces around campus. And they are quite an ambitious bunch and had this idea about cultivating the rooftop. It has been glorious to see the amount of food that has come off of this rooftop. And I can't tell you how amazing it is for me to take that food and then cook it and serve it to students and tell them that the ingredients here were grown right on the roof, right on campus. I know, it's totally half-ass prep. We serve about 3,500 meals a day, which is a lot of food. And the even more sort of curious challenge that I have as Director of Food Services is that in a 10-minute radius walk of this campus, there are 300 food outlets competing for student dollar. And I've realized that my angle is really beautifully sourced food. There's an absence of well-grown, locally sourced food that's made from scratch with care and attention, and that is what the Ryerson kitchens are all about these days. And it's the timing couldn't have been more perfect. The whole notion of being able to produce food at the national level is a problem, right? It's really not the way forward. We have to start thinking about regional food systems and more localized solutions for our food, because it's better for the ground that the food's growing in, and it's better for our bodies in terms of what that produces for us to nourish our bodies with. I think that this generation is very aware. First of all, they are very discerning customers, regardless of what you're buying and selling. But the issue of food and sustainability is now become such a hot topic. It's the front of everybody's mind.
It's behind you.
We have seen the history, at least just in Toronto, we've seen a groundswell of excitement, and that is everything from the fact that any new restaurant that opens up these days makes some mention of where their ingredients have come from. And they're realizing that Southern Ontario produces a lot of beautiful food. Right? I think we have a little self-esteem problem because of our limited growing season. And we think that we're not California, or we're not some faraway place like that can grow beautiful food year round. But we are really this very fertile ground that we have. We have this gorgeous green belt full of beautiful land that produces amazing amounts of food.
A lot of times the ones on the ground are already split. And actually, even the ones that have turned color, because it's so late in the season, they're not that sweet. These would be better for drying, because when you dry them, they really pick up a lot of sugar. You know, like the perception when you bite into them is that they're sweet because you've evaporated so much of the water. I think what triggered it though was when going back a little bit further and my own apprenticeship where I was working with foods that were imported a lot of the time because it was at a fancy hotel and this is what was considered excellent, you know. But for me, on the taste, it always fell short. There's always this kind of, like, I didn't understand it, this weird irony about learning a trade that was supposed to be so excellent and amazing and creating beautiful dishes, and then working with ingredients that were at best mediocre. But then there's the cost barrier. So local food production, ironically, is more expensive than imported, globally sourced food production.
I think that for many years, we thought, oh, there's this many carrots growing in these massive fields, but the carrots are not really worth very much. And not nearly worth as much as carrots that are grown in soil that has been intentionally nourished and cultivated by somebody who is really paying attention to this.
So between the potatoes, the garlic, the tomatoes, the leeks, the herbs, I can keep my restaurant in all of those things that I mentioned for 3 or 4 months of the year. And every year I strive to do more. Really it's a gesture, but it's also, I think, can be inspirational to others.
What really excites me though is seeing how many of my chef colleagues are jumping into this. So much like people like Jamie Kennedy, Michael Statlander, they set footsteps in which so many of us now have been so happy to follow. It really warms my heart to see that we have a very active and engaged community of both gardeners, farmers, and chefs who are making fantastic things happen in this city.
Spending some time with your partner or your friends and creating something beautiful to eat with ingredients that you've just purchased from the local farmer. And that's my idea of a nice way to spend a weekend, at least, if not every day.
Food does this because there's always abundance and there's always more, and it always pushes you for a need to share. And so I've always believed that food is one of the best ways to build community and pull people together, because food is our common denominator, right? It is the thing that our one main shared experience as humans is the need to eat. And the experience of actually growing food is actually quite common to us as well. So there's no denying that the role that food plays in nurturing community is the most exciting and delicious one that I've known.